All right, if you're looking for a seller's discretionary earnings calculator or an SDE calculator, then you've come to the right place, because we have created a free template, little calculator template here that will help you calculate your seller's discretionary earnings for maybe a business you are looking to buy. Maybe you want to calculate that for a potential target that you're looking to acquire, or maybe you're looking to sell your business and you want to be able to calculate the seller's discretionary earnings so you can put that in your listing and help you understand what the valuation of the business should be. This tool will help you with that as well. So I'm going to walk you through how it works, how to fill it out. I'll put a link to this free template in the description of the video below, so you can grab that and follow along that way. Also, while you're down there in the description, you'll notice a couple other links. So just a little bit of background about me. My name is Adam Hoeksema. I'm the co-founder of ProjectionHub, and we help folks create financial projections for their business for potential investors and lenders. Particularly, we do a lot of work with business buyers that are looking to acquire a business. And so we'll put a link in the description of the video to our acquisition projection template, as well as our quality of earnings Sniff test service, which is often used when people are reviewing a deal that they want to maybe buy this business and they want someone to have another set of eyes on and take a look at that and just analyze the financials of the seller. We do that too, so check that out while you're down there. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and dive into this tool. All right, so the first thing you need to know here is that you're going to want to put in the revenue and expenses from the seller. And so I have some example data in here for the last 3 years from their profit and loss and enter that all in. Then we need to add in any adjustments. And so adjustments are non-recurring items, non-operational items, unusual or one-time events, or accounting and policy adjustments. And there's some details here. I'm not going to go through that all here, but I am just going to give you a couple examples here to enter in. So let's say this business had a lawsuit that maybe they won the lawsuit, but they still had to defend themselves, and that cost $35,000. So just to note, what we're going to see here is that net income right here. So this is the earnings of the business before any adjustments or add backs. So when we come down here to the bottom, we're going to notice that we're going to have an adjusted seller's discretionary earnings that is going to be different. It's going to be the net income, plus or minus any adjustments or add backs. So in this case, the lawsuit would be an adjustment. Now, let's say we had some investment income. So in this case, the lawsuit's actually, an additional expense that you wouldn't normally have. But you might have some investment income that maybe you wouldn't normally have for whatever reason. Maybe for a little while you took some of the excess savings of the business and put it into the S&P 500, and then you sold that and maybe earned some investment income. And so in that case, we would actually want to have a negative. So let's say we earned an extra $20,000 from that investment income. Since that's not going to happen again, or we don't expect that again, we need to put a negative number in there. Unusual or one-time events. So let's say there was storm damage that you had to do some repairs back in 3 years ago. And again, this is an extra expense that you wouldn't normally have, so that would be a positive number. Let's say we had $25,000. And then accounting policy adjustments. This says adjustments for aggressive or conservative accounting practices, such as revenue recognition, depreciation, or inventory valuations. This is probably something you want to talk to your CPA about, specifically on those types of adjustments. So the next thing we're going to look at is addbacks. Now, addbacks are probably even more common than adjustments. The most common, or one of the most common addbacks, would be the owner's compensation. So if we look up here in the financials, let's say there's this payroll expense, and let's say the owner is paying themselves out of this line item. So they're paying themselves $100,000 a year, and it's being included in this line item. And let's say that you're not going to, need to take that salary for yourself, and maybe you're going to replace the owner with a $75,000 position. So you're going to have to hire someone else, pay them $75,000 a year to replace what the owner was doing, and then you don't need to take a salary from the business yourself as the owner. What you would be able to do then is you could say, okay, well, we can add back $25,000 worth of that $100,000 salary because I'm going to replace them with a lower paid employee. So we could add back $25,000 to each of the 3 years. So that's how you would enter that in. Travel expenses. This one's always kind of weird. If the owner is paying for personal travel expenses on the business, I mean, that's always maybe a red flag. I guess there could be some legitimate reasons for that, but this is an add back you might see. If you were to add back, say, okay, yep, they spent $10,000 on travel expenses that were really for personal reasons, and the business wouldn't continue to have that, we can add back $10,000 in travel expenses. Depreciation. Now, this is probably the most common add back, and you should be able to find this directly on the income statement if it is included. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say equals. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to find the depreciation line, and I'm just going to add that back here. Then let's say the business moved. Maybe it moved last year, and now it's in a long-term lease, and they don't anticipate moving again, but it costs $20,000 to move for all the one-time expenses. Okay, so after all of those changes, the new adjusted seller's discretionary earnings is seen here. And this is, different, obviously, than the net income seen here. So as you're valuing the business, you want to value the business based on the seller's discretionary earnings number, not just the straight net income on the income statement. And so now what you could do, and there's different ways that you might want to, what SDE you want to use as kind of your baseline to apply a multiple to. But let's say we're going to look at the average of the last 3 years. So I'm going to take the average in this calculator. And so the average SDE over the last 3 years was 86,000. And then based on the industry, and I've got a link here to a source where you can find earnings multiples. And you'd want to look up your industry and see what kind of multiple is typically applied to earnings. So let's say in this industry, it's a 2.5, meaning the value of the business, or the adjusted value here, is going to be the 3-year average SDE times 2.5. So we've got an adjusted valuation of the business of $217,000. So that is how you'd be able to use this SDE calculator. Again, it's a free tool, so go ahead, download that. If you have any questions at all about filling it out, reach out to us at support@projectionhub.com and be happy to help. Thanks.